Hello and welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast, where this week we're talking about The Conjuring. Came out in 2013, it's rated R, hour and 52 minutes, and it got 7.5 out of 10. Way too low.
That's a low ball.
For people that don't know what it's about paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse, and based on a true story. We both really like this movie a lot. I don't know if I've seen La Llorona, but this is a good universe of movies. I really like this universe a lot. It's very expansive. Not every movie's great, but it's still pretty good. The Nun was pretty scary. Not my favorite. Conjuring 1's probably my favorite, though, to be honest, out of the whole universe. Pretty great movie. I do think 7.5 is way too low.
I do too, yeah. We'll
get into the rating last, but it's way too low. 7.5? Come on.
Come on.
Do you want to start talking about what you liked about the movie?
I have liked this movie for a long time, since it came out. I remember the first time I watched it, how scary it was. First time I watched it.
It's always scary the first time.
It was terrifying. I like the aesthetic.
We haven't heard that word in a while. You haven't said it the last couple episodes.
I do. I really like the aesthetic. And the music. The
music's
soundtrack's
great,
pretty good. When it's not scary, it's pretty cool. I like the house.
Yeah, the house is actually really cool.
If it wasn't super haunted, it'd be really pretty.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't like how they just killed the dog. I mean, I get it. I get why, how it fits into the story, but I felt so bad. That part made me so sad.
Yeah, and the dog was 3 seconds old in movie time.
Yeah, literally.
He had probably 45 seconds of screen. 2 lines. He had 45 seconds of screen time. All he did was sit on the porch.
I think it was Sadie was the dog's name.
Yeah, it was Sadie.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now. If I bought a house and I got there and Echo and Honey sat at the door and they were like, we're not going in. I was like, all right, me either.
Pack it up. Bitch.
Pack it up. Yeah, I wouldn't be down with that. I like everything about it. What about you? What do you like?
The whole movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm always apparently the one who writes everything down in this podcast. You just go from the dome.
Yeah, it's all straight from the dome.
Anyway, I like the opening with Annabelle's creepy cracked face.
Oh my god. That always gets me though.
Annabelle's face always creeps you out, but it's the fact that that's the first thing you see out of the Conjuring series.
Well, that's what gets me is it's her face. Then I always get confused if I'm watching Conjuring or Annabelle. I'm like, oh shit, did I put the wrong movie on?
Something I find kind of funny and sort of dumb is right in the beginning when Ed and Lorraine are talking to those girls about the doll, about Annabelle.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we gave her permission to... Real smart,
okay.
Karen.
You thought that was a good idea?
Giving a ghost permission.
Yeah.
I would not give ghost permission no matter who it is.
It was right in the doll. Idiot.
What?
Yeah,
the doll
was
was
that, and I was like, you're so stupid.
A doll was the easiest thing for them to move around. Give them something I don't know. Don't give them anything, let alone a doll.
That is
especially
so
one that
stupid.
looks that creepy.
Okay, first of all, where did you get that and why do you have it?
That's number one. Number two,
and
why
second,
did you pick
why did
that
you
one?
invite a fucking ghost to live in it?
I don't know.
And then you're surprised you're getting haunted? You're surprised?
Surprised is an understatement there. They were scared.
Please.
I have here, Ed and Lorraine are awesome. I love Ed and Lorraine. The real ones and the ones in the movie. They're
pretty cool.
Are very cool. They're pretty badass.
I like the actor.
Oh, the actors are great.
Ed,
he's amazing.
He's a good actor.
Real life Ed was a badass. So was Lorraine, but man, they are both so cool. They seem like a normal family before they, get haunted by Bathsheba. And all they did was really buy a new house on a farm, in the country. They were just trying to do better for their family, And it always ends up being the wrong move for some reason. Every time something like this happens where they go, oh, we finally can buy the house we always wanted in the country, and all of a sudden it's haunted. Which I'm not mad about because they had a great formula for this movie. But I like the first shot that we see of the famous Conjuring tree.
Yeah.
It's right on the DVD cover. It's in all the pictures, everyone knows that tree, And I like that first shot that we see of it because you get to see a glimpse of it while you're moving past the window, and then you get a full straight on look at the tree. The little girl sitting on it found the music box and everything like that.
Yeah, that little music box is creepy.
Yeah, and especially when you see the ghosts in the background.
Rory.
Yeah, Rory. Well, it sees all the ghosts. They use the mirror a few
The
times.
little boy.
The next thing I have here, I have written down, why was the cellar closed up?
You
Did
know
no
what?
one think that whenever they started ripping boards
That's
off?
another thing. The whole movie could be prevented if they just, we're gonna put the board back in the hole.
I mean,
We're gonna
yes,
pop that back
they,
in there.
they needed the boiler to have heat
I
in the
get
house.
it.
I get it. But there's
No.
probably a problem if the entire cellar was boarded up like that.
Honestly, if that were me, I probably would have went through every single item in the basement because I'm just so curious.
Yeah, you're nosy.
I'm nosy. Like I'd be
I
like, oh
probably-
shit!
I would probably
Look at all
went-
these knickknacks.
I probably would have went through it, but then I probably would have burned it all because there's
I
probably...
would have sold it, took it to Goodwill.
The next thing I have written is that it's weird from the beginning. And what I mean by that is that as soon as they move into the house, it's immediately weird. Like we were saying how Sadie wouldn't go inside, and the music box and the tree was weird, and like they were all like seeing and feeling things right from like the first minute they were
Yeah.
living there. It wasn't
They were
like
smelling the smell.
the rotten meat and stuff. It wasn't like an eventual thing. It was like immediately, like she
Yeah.
didn't want you there from the get-go, which not a lot of movies do that, you know?
Yeah, they really like.
They I
You
mean,
know what
it
I'm
does steadily get worse and worse, but that's how, you know, an actual
that's
haunting
how
would
it
go.
be.
Yeah,
That
but
would be.
it wasn't like the first day they were sleeping there was like a knock on the door and no one was there. It was like she was getting her foot pulled, and so like there was like
Yeah.
major stuff happening from the beginning. It wasn't just little tiny insignificant things. I really like the haunted room with all the objects in it and
Oh, yeah.
the Warren's house. That room is so cool. I know you can't touch anything, but I would have loved to go in there and seen it and look at
Imagine,
all
like,
the stuff.
having that in your house. I couldn't do it.
I know. Well, he said he brings a priest to bless the house every month,
How
but
about the little girl was in there?
oh, I
Like,
know.
what are you doing, you idiot? You're old enough to know
And
not
if
to
your
go in
parents
there.
tell you not to go in there,
Don't fucking go in there.
that usually means don't go in. They said it for a reason. I like the Rory scene, which is the little girl, Cindy. She was talking to him. She had just started playing with the music box, and she was at the tea party, and her mom overheard her talking to someone when everyone else was gone.
Who you talking to?
Oh,
I
Rory.
literally would have been like, no, you're not talking to Rory.
Well, there's imaginary friends. Usually those are ghosts. But...
Right. But I don't fuck with that, so.
The next scene is a pretty creepy scene that I really enjoyed was the clap and hide game. It's between Mom and Cindy, not the first one where they're still unpacking and stuff. It's where Cindy goes to hide and hide and clap, and they're playing, and Cindy goes and hides in the supposed armoire in the older sister's room, and she gets that third clap, right, and she sticks her hands out and claps. But where the hell was she? Like, you see two hands pop out and give her a clap to come find her, and then when she actually goes in there, there's no one in there. That's such a... Especially when you watch it for the first time, but even re-watching it kind of creeps you out. It creeps me out still watching. I was like, oh man, that would be so weird to see that in real life. Like, well, she didn't see it, I guess, but... to hear it like that, a clap in front of you and your daughter end up being in the doorway, like that's so creepy.
What do you even do?
What do you
What do
do?
you do?
What is there to do?
See, you can't put me in those situations. You can't.
I
I'm
mean-
not gonna do it.
I'm not scared of...
I'll be like, hey, I'm coming over. Make some room in your basement.
So the next thing I have written here is that second oldest girl, I can't remember her name. There's 5 girls there, so who knows. But
There's so many. It's hard to keep track.
the first one who got her foot pulled, she forgot the one rule about sleeping at night, and that rule is keep your feet under the damn blanket.
I agree.
You never stick body parts out the blanket. The blanket is the force field. You never do that. She forgot that rule.
Sometimes you gotta double up and sleep with socks on.
True.
I sleep with socks on.
Nope, can't do it. A scene that actually scares me now, because I always forget that it happens, is the pictures falling off the wall on the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
The first time it scared the living
Oh,
shit
yeah.
out
The
of
first
me.
time I saw that ever, I was like,
It scared the crap out of me. But
Eyes
even now,
wide, mouth
I watched
open.
it the other day, and it still scared me.
it's freaky.
Yeah, I like the, well, I do and I don't. I don't like the scene because it's like, it's a good scene, but I feel bad. It's the basement scene where Lorraine falls through the wall all the way down to the basement.
Yeah.
I feel so bad every time I see that, because she just found like the hole in the wall, and she was figuring something out about, she found the noose and everything, but then she nearly dies basically. But that ball while she's down in the basement. Oh no, this isn't that falling scene. I'm talking about when the mom falls down the stairs. She gets the living crap beat out of her down those stairs.
She got the shit beat out of her the whole movie. I felt
She really
so
did,
bad.
but down those stairs was the worst. She was
oh my god,
banging her head off of everything, smashing her face off the sides.
poor girl.
Man, she really got the crap beat out of her with that one. And then that ball.
Yeah, she seems like a small woman. Like, she doesn't seem like she could take this kind of beating.
I know, but that ball always scares me too when it comes flying out of there. I always forget that happens too. And then the matches, she's lighting up the matches. That's that. Everyone knows that picture when you see it, what movie that's from. And then when she's at the top of the stairs trying to get out, there's the two hands that come out and clap. Always scares me too.
I know that.
She's
freaks me
just
out.
sitting there and there's just two hands coming out of the dark. And then there's that sleepwalking scene with the woman on top of the armoire.
Yeah.
That's a creepy scene with Bathsheba on top of the armoire. I mean, that's creepy.
That's freaky.
She's just like, oh, you can sleep with me tonight. And by the time she even gets over there, the lady's back up on the armoire and she goes over there trying to check it out. Like, you're not the investigator.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just leave it alone.
Just go about your way.
I like the first time Ed and Lorraine come to the house and it's showing them like unpacking and taking their stuff out of the van and stuff like that. I like the setting up. I like the setting up of the scene and the investigation and stuff. It looks really cool. They take all that time to show you setting up cameras and
putting the bells on the door.
the bells on the doors and the thermometers that take pictures and stuff. Also, Lorraine is looking in the mirror of the music box and she sees Rory in the window behind her. And this is also when she sees the woman hanging from that tree branch, which freaked me out the first time. You just see the feet dangle out of the top of the screen. That's always creepy. No. Bad. I like the first sighting scene, which what I mean by that is Lorraine starts to see stuff in the house and the door opens by itself and they go down in the basement and he has the microphone and everything and it comes running up the stairs and taking pictures and all that other, like that scene was done really well to give you a sense of kind of being afraid but also like setting up that this is supposed to be like a creepy movie. It definitely keeps the tone of creepiness the whole movie for me. Here's where Lorraine falls. I do, but I don't like this scene because I feel bad, but behind the wall when she finds that little room with all the toys in it and the noose and she's figuring out and she falls all the way down.
Yeah.
You expect something to happen the whole time she's down there. I mean, something eventually does, but she's just looking around and nothing's happening. And like at any moment, you know something's going to happen and nothing is actually happening. And it's just like...
That's scarier.
I know. It's scary. It's
something
like...
actually happening.
It's drawing out the anticipation for something to happen. You're just sitting there like, all right, where are they at? Where's the ghost? I know they're here. But then she sees the spirits in that mirror. Look what she made me do or whatever. Like that scene is just so creepy. I don't know how Lorraine kept so calm for so long because that woman just appeared in her face out of nowhere, like on the other side of her. Like that scene is creepy as hell. There's also right after that where she loses the locket, and then this is where Judy is back at home and she sees that the haunted room door is open and she's like searching around looking for her parents and stuff. That whole scene I think is way creepier than the family of 7 getting haunted.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
It's one little girl who her expert demonologist parents are gone. She's left with her frail old grandma and there's just Annabelle.
Yeah.
How did Annabelle get out? Number one. Number two, how did Bathsheba get all the way that way from...
How far were the houses from each other, do we know?
Not close. I think they said it was like an hour drive or something in the movie, but I'm not too sure. But that scene to me is scarier than the family getting haunted. Then there's the scene I really like the way it was executed. Was not that I like the scene per se, but the way it was executed was where Carolyn took the kids back to the house. She was gonna sacrifice them because she was possessed by Bathsheba, and they stop and help her, but they stop her, and that whole exorcism scene was done in such a creepy and cool way that it still like sends shivers down my spine fine watching that scene. Now, in real life, Ed didn't actually do the exorcism, but it's still creepy to think about that this entire movie's based on a true story.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm watching that, I forget it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is real.
I forgot.
That sucks.
But after all that, there's a happy ending, and I really like the ending to this one. It's happy for basically everyone who was involved. There's the fact that they go back home, they took the music box, they finished the music box, they finished that case. And then, did you see the Amityville horror movie?
I think I have, yeah. He's just chopping up his kids.
Yeah. So I believe, well, not I believe, it actually is what happened was at the end when they put the music box in the room, they said that the priest had a new case or whatever. I forget. I think they said actually Amityville, and it was that one, the Amityville horror. They were investigating that one. I mean, that was from what I did research on, it was in 1975, and Conjuring takes place in 71, so it didn't exactly line up correctly, but it was still that case that they were talking about, which was pretty cool. That's what I like about this movie. I mean, the whole movie is great. Do you have anything you want to add?
I think we covered it. It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, it's a really creepy movie. I actually have a lot of fear facts for this one. We're gonna make those into stickers now. Fear facts. Aesthetic and fear facts are gonna be our two.
Aesthetic.
No,
I appreciate a good aesthetic, okay?
I have a lot of fear facts for this one. A lot of them were really cool and interesting that I thought. Fear fact number 1 is that the real Perrin family visited the set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one in real life. I don't know if it was the parents or if it was just the girls, but I know that the wife helped the writers of this movie, but I can't remember if the father was involved at all. But
would you do that?
What?
Go back to a place that was like, or go to a set of a place that was like traumatizing for you?
Yeah, why not? If it was a movie about myself, hell, I would do it. This film, for fear fact number 2, this film, unlike most other movies, was filmed in chronological order. And what that means is like they filmed the movie the way we watched it. So most movies will like do this scene and then do this scene, jump around the whole movie, like the first scene and the 10th scene and then the second, and then they'll do it like out of order and just film what they can based on maybe like facial hair growth, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'll film this scene this day because it's really sunny out and tomorrow it's gonna rain. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So this one was actually shot in the way that you see it being played, which I thought is really cool because not too many films do that. Fear fact number 3, I'm not gonna count all these, sorry, but I'm just gonna go through them. For the third one, the film didn't contain much R-rated things, so like there wasn't any nudity. There was very little swearing, and if it is swearing, it's like mild stuff. There's not a huge amount of blood and gore and whatnot. I think there's a little bit, but not a lot. But the reason it got the R rating was because it was so scary. Yeah, can you believe that? A movie.
Not one F-bomb.
Yeah, like it barely has any R-rated content in it, but it still got the R rating because it was just too terrifying. Like not many movies even do that. Can actually do that.
Pretty impressive, actually.
I know. And the next one kind of goes into that. They just accepted the R rating because they refused to change anything about this movie.
They said, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're R-rated.
Basically, they were not gonna change the tone or anything. They didn't want to alter the movie in any way from what they envisioned it to be. So they were just like, all right, we'll take the R rating.
I respect
That's fine.
that.
Yeah, I hugely respect that. The screenwriters and the director and stuff actually met with the real life Lorraine to have her help on the movie to make this movie like as accurate as they possibly could in certain scenes. So obviously not every single detail about this movie is 100% accurate, but it's a very close movie. So they met with the real life Lorraine and the real life Perrin family and the mom Carolyn, the real life Carolyn.
Wow.
For this movie. The original Annabelle doll wasn't a porcelain doll. They thought the porcelain would be scarier.
Isn't it a rag doll?
It's a Raggedy Ann.
Like Raggedy Ann, yeah.
So they picked porcelain because they thought it would be creepier, which it really is. But the real life Annabelle was Raggedy Ann. And it's a true story what happened. Like so the two girls in the apartment, that's the real story what actually happened. But
it was a Raggedy Ann.
But it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Could you imagine if it was a Raggedy Ann doll, dude? I'd pick it up and punt it out the window.
I know, seriously.
I think Dad had a Raggedy Andy.
He did when he was a
Right?
kid. He had an Andy.
Did
yeah.
he get rid of it?
Oh
I
yeah,
hope so.
a long time ago.
I was gonna say, if he still has that motherfucker, it's gone.
So, do you remember the classroom discussions? They were given the what's it called, the lectures and stuff. Ed and Lorraine in the movie.
Did you just say the word lecture?
Yeah.
That's the word I'm gonna say.
Do you remember it though?
I thought you were asking me
No. Do you
what
remember
it was called.
those scenes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you probably didn't notice that in the front row of that class was the real life Lorraine.
Ah.
She was actually in the movie in the front row,
I'll
listening
have to check that out.
the actors playing her and her husband give a lecture about demonology.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool, I thought. The next one, the director's new puppy. He got a new puppy while
Yeah.
writing this movie.
Okay.
Saw and followed something with its eyes while he was writing the movie.
What?
So
what do you mean?
he was writing at his desk. He got this new puppy. I think it was like 6 months old or something. And he was chilling in the room with him. And all of a sudden, the dog looks at the doorway at supposedly nothing. And his eyes followed something move while he was writing this movie.
Oh, great.
So it's kind of a creepy fear fact there. That's a true fear fact there. Imagine
I
that.
don't like that.
You're writing a
I would
movie.
immediately close the notebook and get up and walk away.
Imagine writing a movie about a real haunted event, and then all of a sudden your dog was just like, "Oh, hey, I see something."
Hey, what is that?
Yeah.
No.
Nope, that's kind of creepy.
Don't look at that.
So Lorraine and the mom, I'm guessing, Lorraine was helping the screenwriters to make this as absolutely accurate as possible. And they actually said that this was extremely accurate to what they can remember about this case.
Wow.
So what they
Fuck that.
remember is actually like the movie. So imagine that actually happening to you. Imagine you were Lorraine. I would think that would be pretty cool to see that firsthand. It would suck to have it happen to me, but that's like kind of interesting to me.
It's definitely more interesting than like a normal life would be,
Oh yeah.
but not something I'm interested
And
having happened to
yeah,
me.
having happened to you.
Like, I'm good. Thank you.
So they built the set, so the house was about 99% accurate.
Damn.
So everything in that house was nearly exactly where it was in real life when this happened. And on top of the set being accurate, the movie was nearly accurate too. They did
Pretty darn tootin' job.
Yeah, seriously, they did. I don't know, where to begin where a movie, this movie I don't think had like a huge budget, but it still got the job done. It ended up making tons of money. It was like the 19th most selling movie like of all time or something. And that's pretty good for not only a first movie in a series, but for a horror movie, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So I remembered we were trying to remember in the last episode like what exactly was in the Conjuring universe, and I actually looked up what every movie was in this universe, and it's 8 movies. It's Conjuring 1, 2, and 3, Annabelle 1, 2, and 3, The Nun, and Curse of La Llorona.
Not Insidious?
No, Insidious is not part of the Conjuring universe.
Wow.
Same actors.
Okay, maybe that's why I thought.
The dad in Insidious is Ed.
Yeah.
I don't think, no, Lorraine's not the same actress, but Ed is in Insidious. It's not Ed, obviously, but it's still that
Maybe
same
that's
actor.
why I thought.
I like this entire universe. It's a very creepy. It's not like, they sacrificed too much. You know what I mean? They didn't like rush too much. They took their time to build up, the scary parts. They took time for the Perrin family and for the Warrens to kind of get you to know who they were pretty quickly without rushing it. And the scares were really good. The writing is excellent. The soundtrack is excellent.
Yeah, I really like
the special effects to get, how scary it was, like her being pulled by her hair, the pictures falling off the wall, the Rory just disappearing and reappearing randomly, the hands coming out of the armoire and out of the dark and stuff. Like everything about this movie was so well done that I can see why this started an entire universe of movies. It definitely deserved that start, and it was very good here.
Do you remember that scene where they're looking for the youngest daughter, I think?
Uh-huh.
She's under the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And he yells it out for everyone to hear.
Uh-huh.
Then the mom turns around, then goes in a hole and starts crawling after her.
Yeah.
That's the freakiest part of the whole movie.
You think?
Yes.
That's,
for me, yeah.
For me, it's during the exorcism and Bathsheba's face comes out of the sheet instead of the mom's.
Yeah, that's freaky too.
That's really freaky. He says, "I command you to show yourself," or whatever, and her face just comes popping out of that hole. That's a really creepy scene.
But imagine how they felt when she turned around and started going after the daughter.
Oh,
after
I know.
the guy was like, she's under the kitchen floorboards. I'd been like, what the fuck? Why would you yell that
Yeah,
out?
why would you yell that out? Just help
She,
her and
like,
get her out.
Get her out. Every time I watch that, I'm like, oh, like, at first I'm like, oh my god. And then I'm like,
I want to talk a little more about that ending where she's about to kill the daughter and Ed yells out her name and she stops and she's like all pissed and so you can see the mom, Carolyn's face. And then as soon as he says Bathsheba, she turns her head and she's Bathsheba. Like, that's such a cool, you know, like look into that scene.
Switch.
Yeah, that switch into the like demon face, I guess you could say, was so cool. And then Lorraine just like grabbing her by the head and saying like, and like talking her out of being cursed. I think that's such a cool way to end that movie.
It's kind of like lighthearted.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lighthearted.
It's like, okay, this movie was really scary. We're gonna end it like this.
It's kind of like a lighthearted ending, but it also shows you that you got Bathsheba, right? But you didn't get Rory.
I guess demons don't like when you say their name.
They don't know.
Right?
I mean, I'm not an expert. But
I mean, I'm not a fucking expert.
But
I
no,
heard that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You have Bathsheba and Rory. So, well, from the whole movie, there's a bunch of spirits in there, apparently.
Yeah.
So when's the next one gonna...
Maybe she was just the
bad one.
Bitch.
Because Rory didn't really...
He was kind of chill.
He didn't really hurt anybody.
No, he was just chilling.
He was just scaring him. I guess I wouldn't want to be scared either, but like, he wasn't violent, you know?
Yeah.
Bathsheba was the violent one because she did the curse and everything. But apparently, from a little of the research I did, was that the real Bathsheba in the case wasn't even a witch. She got in court. She was actually acquitted of the witch charges. So that story about Bathsheba like sacrificing her kid and, you know, ran out to hang herself and cursed anyone who buys the land, has a curse on him, whatever, all that other stuff. But apparently that didn't actually happen in real life, but it was believed by a lot of people that that's what happened. So they kind of ran with that one. So I really like the actors in this movie, especially Ed and Lorraine. I mean, the real life ones are so very, very interesting and cool, but it seems like these two actors actually made it like way more cool than... These two actors did such a good job that it made it a lot more interesting to learn about these two. I really like you said, the aesthetic, the scenery of this movie, the tone and everything like that. It was very good, and the writing and directing was excellent. There wasn't too many, you know, bad shots in this movie. I can't think of any bad shots, you know. I feel like that they were in a position where you can see like things happening in the background also while it's happening to the family and everything. I really enjoyed everything about this movie.
Me too.
And I give this movie actually a 9.5.
Okay.
This is up there with
I'll
some
agree
of the...
with you.
This is an amazing movie.
Oh yeah, I don't see any
7.1 was too low.
That was way too low.
It does not deserve anything below 8.5. Like,
wanna
there can
know-
be arguments made, like a little bit of the accuracy is faulty. That's why I didn't give it a 10. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 movie, but looking at aside from like, it's not 100% accurate, even though you couldn't make it 100%
I was gonna say,
accurate.
is that really possible?
No. There's not too many things that you can actually say is wrong with this movie.
Yeah, I agree. Good. It's a good watch.
Amazing actors, amazing story, amazing directing.
Came out in 2013.
In
too.
2013, exactly.
I can't believe it's been that long already.
I know, but there's not too many bad things you can say about the movie. This definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 in my mind, but playing on the safe side, not giving it the 10 out of 10 is because of, you know, historical accuracy and stuff. But what do you think? What do you rate it, and what do you like about this movie the most?
I really like how even still to this day it still freaks me out.
Absolutely.
You know, I like
If
that.
a movie has longevity.
That's what I like about it. I'd say, yeah, 9.5. It's not a 10, but, because it's not, I think I just rate my favorite movies 10s, but it's definitely up there. I've always loved this movie. Even the second one was really good.
Oh yeah, they didn't really... I wasn't a huge fan of the Annabelle movies.
You didn't like those?
And not that I didn't like them, I just didn't like them as much as Conjuring. Definitely
Yeah,
Conjuring is the strongest movies in this universe, for
The
sure.
Nun's freaky.
Yeah.
I watched The Nun once and I said, that's enough.
Yeah,
I guess until we have to watch it again.
Yeah,
but,
we'll watch it eventually.
yeah, that was very freaky for me.
I'm glad we actually got to this movie because this is a staple in the horror community. You know, it might not be a classic or anything like that, but it definitely has a big cult following. Enough to spawn 8 movies in an entire entire universe.
They milked it, but in a good way.
Oh yes, they definitely did milk it, but it's not like the 8th movie being Curse of La Llorona was like terrible
milked
or
that
anything.
Conjuring cow, and I'm thirsty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like Star Wars. They keep making stuff.
Yeah.
Some might not be as strong as others, but it was still pretty good. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Annabelle movies. Not that they're bad, just I wasn't the hugest fan of them.
I also feel like those are way easier to like take Annabelle and drive to the middle of the woods and chuck her.
Maybe.
Or like crush her with a mallet.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, it's just the demon was clinging on to,
There's
Annabelle.
so many things I would do.
Yeah, I would at least try a couple things, not be like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
Toss it in a dumpster, she's back. That's it.
I'm
No,
done. I'll call
record her.
someone. Like, come on, try burning her and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can try a whole bunch of things. And if
You
she
can do
keeps
so many,
showing,
I have so many
know.
ideas they can ask me if they want.
This movie is what started a universe. What started horror movies kind of got stale a couple years before this movie. Really, the most notable thing I can really think of that was good was Paranormal Activity, and I think that came out in 2010.
Was it really 2010?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not.
Paranormal Activity, the first time I ever watched it, freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, it's especially the found footage angle of it, but it's still okay. It came out in 2007.
Damn.
So
Paranormal Activity?
Yeah. So there's not a huge before 2013. There wasn't a huge.
That definitely like changed a lot of things.
The Conjuring changed a lot for horror. It kind of got stale since probably 2000. There's not too many hugely notable movies. I know Final Destination's in there.
Those are like...
But that's not like an amazing movie.
They're not like horror. They're like, oh, fuck.
They're technically... They're considered horror,
I just don't think they're like... You know what I mean? Because those are like shitty things that could happen that kill you.
Yeah, it's definitely not like...
Boo.
It's not like,
scared?
I'm so amazed by this movie or anything
it's
like that. But
oh, fuck. That could
sucks.
happen to me and now I have a fear forever.
Yeah, well, fear. So horror.
I guess, whatever.
But it was kind of stale, the horror community. And really, for me, for a long time, that's kind of where it started. That's why I fell in love with like 80 campy movies, bad budget. That's where I fell in love with like bad budget horror movies from like the 70s and 80s, because they're not great movies either, but at least, they're still kind of creepy, where the way they're filmed is in like a creepy way, and like the budget's so low and the special effects were so bad back then that it kind of gives this like corny good feeling about the movies. And The Conjuring was one of the first. Conjuring and Insidious were like
the first things
the first things that like brought life back into horror. And I hugely, that's why I scored this one so high, even with the historical accuracy taking some points off. It's because this breathed life into the horror community again. And then along came Hereditary, and
oh, it fucked me all the way up.
yeah, exactly. You have anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I don't think so.
Well, this was our discussion on The Conjuring. Next week is a movie called Blood Rage.
Blood Rage.
It's a Thanksgiving movie, and this is coming out right around Thanksgiving. Neither of us have seen it.
Hell yeah.
So it'll be a cool experience to have a movie that we haven't seen yet. So
I think that'll be the first one, right?
Yeah, it's the first one that we
neither
of us have seen. Yeah, so
right.
It'll be cool. So that's it for this week. We'll catch you next week. Please, rate and share and tell your friends and family, your dog about us.
Your dog. Tell your dogs about me, guys, please.
So we can get some more listeners, because I'm having a lot of fun. Are you having fun doing it?
I'm having a great time.
This is a good time. I want to keep watching horror movies and watch some of your favorites, so let us know and keep sharing around.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Catch you next time.
Catch you later.